I'm Taryn Thompson, and I'm one of the founders of Cure. Thanks for coming on tonight. We're going to be talking about how hemp helps with arthritis. Massive subject. So let's kick right into it. So figure out how to change my slides. There we go. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who I am, I have been in the health and supplement industry for 15 years. Gosh, when I say that, it sounds like a hell of a long time. But yes, it has been quite some time. And I actually had a health coaching business that I ran out of two gyms. We focused on hormone optimization, predominantly for women's health. And so that was a very long stint in the health industry that we did. But for the last 5 years, I have been working with hemp, and far out, what an awesome industry to be in. It's a very new industry in New Zealand. I'd say that it is still very largely unestablished, but it has been a great 5 years working in this industry so far. We developed a product, our core product, which I'm going to talk about tonight, but we have a range of products in the hemp space, and we have gotten a heck of a lot of good reviews, which means that we're definitely onto something here, which is very exciting. So now I spend a lot of time working with naturopaths, predominantly educating health professionals on hemp and how hemp works in the body. The unfortunate thing is that there's actually not a lot of education out there. And so I know that when the penny dropped for me and I understood it, it was a game changer. And so I've been really passionately educating in this industry for the last 5 years, and in the last two had shifted that focus to educating other health professionals about this amazing plant. I'm also a mum, so I've got two boys. They are almost 9 and 3, and we actually just came back from a trip up to the North Island. We did a couple of shows up there exhibiting our products, and because it was school holidays, we took the two boys with us, so that's always fun. We actually get around the country quite a bit. I checked in and saw that we have 22 shows booked for the year. So don't be surprised if you see us on the road. Look out for the Cure hemp truck. So I want to talk about now what is in it for you guys. I've introduced myself, and I hope that you feel comfortable tonight. But I really want you guys to feel more than comfortable. I want you to feel like there is going to be really something in this for you. I don't know if it is you personally that is struggling with arthritis, but I do know that you will know someone who struggles with arthritis. Very, very common. And so I just pulled out a bunch of testimonials that I thought were great, just to see how people's lives are being changed in this area. Marie says this product is awesome, makes a huge difference, reducing osteoarthritis in her hands and her knees. Nikki, since I've been taking these drops for the past couple of weeks, I haven't had to rub the balm into my joints for arthritis. So we do have a topical product and an internal product that works very well for arthritis. Kathy says, I've got fibromyalgia and arthritis. So that is another thing that we're going to be talking about tonight, because arthritis isn't always something that people only have. What I've found in just the many, many conversations that I've had is that someone usually has arthritis and something else and something else. And so Kathy has fibro and arthritis affecting her spine. She used 15 drops a day, having followed the regime for finding her sweet spot. And then, just to prove to herself that the drops really were working and that it wasn't a placebo effect, she stopped taking the drops and then started taking them back again, and in fact confirmed it wasn't the placebo effect. So I thought that was hilarious. All right. Chris Jenkins. So Chris Jenkins, he used the drops for pain and arthritis in both of his feet. Now, the cool thing about this is that I've talked to so many people who have been able to reduce, if not come off, the medications that they are on. So I'm surprised. I shouldn't be, but it still surprises me that a lot of people are medicated up to their eyeballs. So I find I'm I'm always how do I say it? It really, the testimonials really get me. They keep me going, really. Seeing the difference that it's making to people. Let me just make sure that I can mute the background. All right, cool. Um, so then Chris also, so just take note that in January, Chris started using the drops, but then he starts using the balm in March and says that he's continuing to find benefit to the severe arthritis in his left knee. And then just to check in again, he says he continues to find benefit in using the balm on his left knee and both feet. So he's been using the products for a while now and having great results. Actually, no, Chris is a woman, so she has been using the products for a while and getting great results. And I guess this shows that it's still working, which is good because sometimes we can be concerned about whether it's worked initially, but it's not going to continue to help. So, what is arthritis? Well, if you have it, of course, you know what it is. But the thing that I really want to point out when we're talking about arthritis in general is that it's actually a term that is used to describe around 200 conditions that affect the joints, the tissue that surrounds the joints, and also other connective tissue. So it's actually a very broad um, name given to a lot of conditions affecting the joints. So let's take a look at some of the symptoms. So painful joints, ankle, painful joints in the back, fingers, hands, muscles, neck, wrists, intermittent or sharp pains. Sometimes we can get bumps on the fingers or bony outgrowth in fingers or toes. Sometimes the symptoms can be whole body fatigue, so it's not just affecting a particular area. Sometimes it's difficult to be able to really isolate where the pain is coming from. Joint stiffness, tenderness, swelling, decreased range of motion, difficulty walking, muscle weakness, a whole body illness or discomfort that is difficult to identify. So the thing that I really want to point out here is that almost all of those symptoms, maybe bar one, are affecting this, affecting us or people who have arthritis in the ways of pain. Okay, so pain is the main issue here that is needing to be dealt with. So some of the treatments that are commonly used are hydrotherapy, stretching, massage, acupuncture, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and also steroids, analgesics, narcotics, immunosuppressive drugs, surgery, and joint replacement. So tonight, what we're going to be talking about is natural relief for arthritis and with hemp. So these are the four things that I thought were imperative that we cover. First of all, just the difference between the two general kinds of arthritis that people have, osteo and rheumatoid. Then we'll talk about the endocannabinoid system. Now, this is the system of the body that hemp acts on. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that, and then we'll go through the differences between hemp and marijuana very briefly. And then we'll talk about the solution, which is Cure Plus full spectrum hemp oil. Okay. I actually, just to free up my screen, I can't see questions if you're typing them in. So every now and again, I will check. However, I will save the questions until afterwards. So type them in, and just in case you forget to ask them at the end, type them in as you come up with them in real time, and then we'll address them at the end. All right. So while both osteoarthritis and rheumatoid involve inflammation of the joints that lead to pain, the reasons for the symptoms are different. So osteoarthritis is where it's bone on bone. Okay, so the cartilage, which is the tissue that covers the ends of the bones, it wears away, and there's less cushioning where the two bones meet, which leads to pain. And then as it progresses, then we can also get to a point where the nerves then become damaged. Rheumatoid arthritis is different. This is autoimmune. And this is where the immune system is attacking the joints, which is leading to inflammation and swelling of the joint lining, which is called the synovia. So I thought I'd put a picture up so that we could see. So we can see on the left side, osteoarthritis, we can see that it's bone on bone. It's damage to the cartilage. It is, what's the word, progressive. So it gets worse and becomes more chronic over time. Rheumatoid arthritis is autoimmune. So it's when the immune system is actually attacking the body. But more specifically, it's attacking this, if you can see my mouse, this here. So it's the membrane, the synovial membrane. And what happens is it causes inflammation to build, which causes more joint fluid to be produced in that area. And so then the swelling, it just contributes to the inflammation, and it is just a cycle of inflammation, fluid, and pain on repeat. So one of them is an autoimmune condition, and the other is wear and tear kind of disease. So we mentioned the symptoms, right? And I pointed out that almost all of them, bar one, because I have met people who have got the bony outgrowths in their fingers or their toes, but there's no pain there. So they're experiencing pain in other areas where there might not be the growths there. But all of the other symptoms are to do with pain. And then I also did point out that the symptoms can also include other autoimmune conditions. So, when the body is struggling in one area, it tends to put pressure on other systems of the body, and then we start to get a bit of a symptomatic mess, really. But that is quite common with arthritis. So let's look at the kinds of pains that are being experienced. So the first one is the inflammatory pain. Now, this is part of the nociceptive pain entity. I'm not sure if that's actually how you pronounce it, but nociceptors are a receptor that are where the body is experiencing pain, but it's it's a pain when the body feels like it's being harmed, or whether it's being attacked. So like a fracture, a bruise, a cut, a burn. So the kind of pain that you would experience if this was happening is a nociceptive kind of pain. So it's an inflammatory pain. Then we've got a neuropathic pain, and this is a different kind of pain, though it may feel similar. It is when there is actually damage to the nerve or the nervous system. Okay, and this is much more common in if the immune system is compromised, so the rheumatoid arthritis. So that's not to say that someone with rheumatoid arthritis isn't experiencing both kinds of pain, but when the nerves are damaged, when the nervous system is really struggling like that, it's really awful to think that pain management becomes then the primary focus of relief, right? So I want to switch gears and I want to talk about the endocannabinoid system, because guys, this is really where it's at. The endocannabinoid system is the solution, it's the key, but we first have to understand the system of the body. So the endocannabinoid system, it's a component of our nervous system featuring receptors, and I'll show you what that looks like, but it's not a part of our nervous system. It's a system all on its own, but it's a key component of it. So it plays a massive role in how the nervous system functions. So these receptors are crucial for transmitting messages in the body. It plays a significant role in regulating various bodily functions, ensuring everything operates in harmony. So quite a key system of the body, right? You might be thinking, how come I've never heard of it? Well, because of its association with cannabis, it was not able to be taught about. In fact, it was only, I'm thinking 2 years ago, that it was allowed to be taught in schools. So a lot of people who I speak to in the health industry have heard of it briefly, but didn't get a lot of education on it, which is crazy because this system of the body helps regulate all the other systems of the body, and we are made up of 11. So very key to have the endocannabinoid system functioning optimally. We can see that it consists of 2 kinds of receptors. We can see that there's the CB receptor 1, so cannabinoid receptor 1, which is the lighter pink color. You can see they're all over the body. They're attached to all the organs, but they cluster largely in the brain, okay, versus the other cannabinoid receptor 2, which is more clustering in the digestive and immune system. So just take note of that and park that, because that is quite important. So the cannabinoid system is defined as a group of endogenous cannabinoid receptors, okay? And Endogenous just means to make your own. So these receptors we have in the body, they are predominantly located in the brain, the central nervous system, and the peripheral nervous system. The endocannabinoid system is involved in many physiological processes, including pain sensation. All right, so as it's relevant to this topic on arthritis. Now, you'll see that wherever I've put the cited study below is because I've directly actually copied that like end quote, from the study itself. So they're not my own words. They are the words directly used from studies that I have put in there. Okay, so what are cannabinoids? So our body actually produces its own cannabinoids. So these are chemical compounds that your body makes, and the job of them is to maintain balance across all systems and processes and functions to maintain harmony. So the cannabinoid system is a series of receptors, and cannabinoids are chemicals that your body produces. Now, cannabinoids are also found in plants, and they are abundant in the hemp plant. There is no other plant that consists of more cannabinoids than cannabis, hence the term, hence the name. And since cannabinoids from hemp are so similar to our own, they therefore can interact with our endocannabinoid system, supporting its role in keeping the body balanced. Okay, so how do the cannabinoids work with the cannabinoid system? Well, they work like lock and key. All right, so the cannabinoid is the key, and the receptors are the lock. And would you have it? They are a perfect fit. So we can see here that the cannabinoids, for example, this is just an example of 3 of the cannabinoids found in hemp, and there are over 400 of them that we just even know about. So CBD, THC, CBN, they are 3 different kinds of cannabinoids. See the receptors there? You can see that the CBD is a perfect fit for the receptor. THC is a perfect fit for a receptor, so is CBN. So these cannabinoids that we make endogenously, so our own ones that we make naturally, they look so similar to the ones that are found in hemp that when we supplement with hemp, the receptors know exactly what to do with them because they are a perfect fit. How cool is that? So another quote, an overwhelming body of evidence or of convincing preclinical evidence indicates that cannabinoids produce the action or process of blocking the detection of a painful effect in inflammatory and neuropathic pain. So that's cool because it covers both kinds of pain. So not just the nerve damaged neuropathic pain, which exists in both osteo and rheumatoid arthritis, but can be more prevalent in rheumatoid arthritis because of the nature of the body attacking itself. But it also covers off that nociceptor kind of pain, that inflammatory pain, where the body feels like it's being attacked or harmed. So that is very relevant in terms of hemp being part of that solution. Now, the CB1 and CB2 receptors, as I mentioned, do address both kinds of pain. So one of the receptors, remember the CB1 receptor, which we saw clustered largely in the brain, so predominantly by the cells in the central nervous system, okay, versus the CB2 receptors, which were predominantly expressed by your immune cells, which is where we saw them largely around the digestive area. So these 2 types of receptors make up your endocannabinoid system. And fun fact, anything with a vertebrae has this system of the body. Okay, so your pets, for example. Another quote, the results of clinical studies consistently demonstrate efficacy of cannabis and cannabinoid receptor agonists. So that just means that other kinds of drugs that they are trying to make where the compound also fits into those same fitting cannabinoid receptors and reducing diverse neuropathic pain states in humans. Now, while they try to produce these other kinds of drugs that work on these cannabinoid receptors in order to be able to patent drugs so that they can be patented by drug companies, cannabis is clearly proven itself to work on its own without anything synthetic added. So as a natural medicine, it has proven its efficacy. Another quote, in sum, the endogenous cannabinoid system contains multiple promising therapeutic targets and provides a strong impetus to develop cannabinoid-based medications to treat inflammatory and neuropathic pain. So they're seeing a case for producing medications that contain cannabinoids in them, perhaps mixed with other synthetic things to make them patentable, as I mentioned, but also it's again a strong case, more evidence to support that cannabis really is effective. Increasing evidence suggests that the cannabinoid system, especially the CB2 receptor, has an important role in the disordered physiological processes of rheumatoid arthritis. Now, remember, those were the receptors that were predominantly in the digestive system. They are part of your immune receptors. Many members of the endocannabinoid system are reported to inhibit synovial inflammation. So remember that the attack on the joints is not actually the body directly attacking the joints, is attacking the synovial membrane, and it's then producing the synovial inflammation, too much fluid inflammation, and therefore pain, but also cartilage destruction, which is prevalent in rheumatoid arthritis, and also, I will say, in osteoarthritis. The ECS plays a role in our immune process and how our bodies register pain. So we talked about the cannabinoid system regulating processes and other systems of the body across the board. So it interacted with all the systems of the body, but you can see that it directly impacts the way our bodies deal with pain. Okay, so in patients with osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, that system is altered. So what that means is that in someone who has either of these two conditions, they have an impaired cannabinoid system. All right, so that's what the studies are showing, that it is low functioning. And if someone has rheumatoid arthritis and their cannabinoid system is low functioning, then it stands to reason that, of course, they would have a problem with managing pain, managing inflammation, but even in itself that the immune system is attacking the body. All right, a study published in Arthritis Research and Therapy looked at the joint fluid of both osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis patients. Researchers found that both CB1 and CB2 receptors were present in the patient's joint linings. Okay, so what they are seeing here is that the cannabinoid receptors then were showing. Now, they were always there. They're always there in both the healthy volunteers who didn't have arthritis, right? So those receptors are still there, but they were not expressed. Okay, so it's like the body knows when to express, when those receptors need to be available and ready. So it's like they were there and waiting for the body to produce cannabinoids, right? Versus the people who were the healthy volunteers without arthritis, where they were non-detectable. So they're there, they were just unexpressed. I thought that was really interesting because that's the body's ability. It's the body proving that it has the ability to correct itself, right? That innate smart is in fact there, which I thought was awesome. So the endocannabinoid system was discovered mid-1990 by researcher Dr. Ralph Mechelin. It was found that the ECS is an integral part of our physiologies responsible for maintaining order and balance across all other systems of the body, right? So isn't it crazy that if you're a health professional that you would not know very much about the system of the body, because it stands to reason that wouldn't you want to prescribe supplements and products that were about supporting that system of the body, since it plays such an integral role in managing all the other systems of the body? I thought that was really interesting. So we're made up of 11, as I mentioned: your respiratory, digestive system, endocrine, so that's your hormones, your sensory, renal, nervous, reproductive. We're made up of these 11 systems of the body, but the 12th system of the body is like the mother, right? The one that helps all the other systems of the body stay in homeostasis, stay in balance. So so think of it like the cannabinoid system as an orchestra, and your organs are all needing to work all together. And sorry, the cannabinoid system is the conductor, right? So as they're all working together, we want them to be working in homeostasis. So it's helping the body on levels that we don't even think of, right? So say, for example, body temperature. So your ability to warm and cool itself is part of the endocannabinoid system's job. Your blood sugar levels, right? See, those cannabinoid receptors are attached to the organs. So they're actually attached to your pancreas, right? To water and mineral balance, to your pH level. So it's playing a role in things that we would not even think of. So it's responsible for maintaining metabolism, pain, appetite, sleep, mood, movement, temperature, memory and learning, immune function, inflammation, neural development, neuroprotection, cardiovascular function, digestion, and reproduction. So just want you to think for a second, like if your cannabinoid system is not firing on all 6 cylinders, if it's not firing, then just think, like, how do you think your body would manage stress, right? Are you managing stress well? Yeah. Are you experiencing symptoms to do with body temperature regulation, like menopause, for example? Do you have trouble maintaining good blood sugar levels with diabetes? At the very core of it, our ability to maintain balance is going to affect how well we feel just in everyday living, right? It's going to affect our relationships, our ability to function well at work, to family, right? It's going to make a difference across the board. So multiple systems of the body are affected with both osteo and rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, it's not just pressure on the joints. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just only that area that the person is really struggling with. But oftentimes I find that with a few more questions, I find that they're also experiencing problem with sleep. It is crazy that everyone goes to bed, but not a lot of people are sleeping. Then also problems with consequent other autoimmune conditions. So they don't always, very seldomly, I have found someone who only has one autoimmune condition. It's usually showing up in many ways. So I mentioned that these are the symptoms, but other autoimmune conditions are very common in someone who has rheumatoid arthritis. And if you think about it, we talked about that orchestra. So if the cannabinoid system is like the conductor and your organs are like the orchestra, if one area of the body is under pressure, it can work like a bit of a domino effect, right? So one area of the body is under pressure, which means that another area has got to work harder to compensate, which puts pressure on another area of the body because it's got to work harder to compensate, and so on and so on. And so it's key that the cannabinoid system is functioning optimally because its job is to maintain homeostasis across all systems of the body so that we're not hearing a bunch of noise, right? Like a bunch of 3-year-olds practicing their instruments in a room all together, but we're hearing a nice harmonious sound, right? And that's when the body is working in harmony and you feel it. Okay, so we're going to switch gears real quick, and I just want to talk to you about the differences between hemp and marijuana. Now, most people will know the difference already, but some don't. And when I'm doing shows, I have to say, sometimes I do get real funny looks from people who are looking at me sideways, like, like I'm selling cannabis, or well, I am, but I'm selling marijuana, which I'm not. So I just want to talk about the difference between them. So cannabis is actually the family name. Okay, so most people, when they talk about cannabis, are referring to marijuana, but cannabis is actually the family name to hemp. All right, so hemp is grown in its natural form, Okay, it has not been tinkered with, messed with. It's just naturally grown, not psychoactive. So the psychoactive cannabinoid is THC, which also does have amazing therapeutic benefit. But it is also the one that people use recreationally as well, and gets you high. But it's also the one that people have to be, um, you know, what's the word, aware of if we're getting drug tested at work. Okay, so hemp in its natural form is non-psychoactive and is less than 0.3% THC, so it's there, but it's in trace amounts. And if you smoked a whole crop of it, I mean, it wouldn't be enough. But marijuana, on the other hand, is cultivated. Okay, so it's when you take the male plant away from the female, and then she can't reproduce. And so what she's got to do is she's got to make herself sticky to try and attract that pollen so that she can reproduce. And the stickiness is the THC. Okay, and so the longer that we keep the male away from her, she will generationally increase the amount of THC that she produces. So marijuana or high THC strains of cannabis versus lower THC strains of cannabis. The higher strains are the marijuana strains of hemp are upwards of 5 to 20% THC, but they're cultivated. So that is the difference. Okay. So an easier way that we could think about it is that citrus is the family of both oranges and lemons, but they're two completely different fruits, right? So they're both from the citrus family, but they're different fruits. Same as cannabis is the family name, and hemp and marijuana are two different fruits, right? Two different plants. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at how it's working for people who specifically have arthritis. So Joanne says, love this product. I have rheumatoid arthritis, recently broken my wrist. First time since the break, and I've managed to get through the day with no painkillers. So good, I've just reordered another bottle. Judith, I also bought from Napier yesterday. This morning, I was able to do up my shoes and feel much freer when walking. I've had 2 hip replacements, and with arthritis in my spine, I'm always slow and stiff in the mornings. It's 4:28 p.m. and I've had a pain-free day. Reg says, now you can, just if you take notice where it says hempress oil, that's what we used to call the oil before we rebranded to Cure. So Reg says, I think it's the bee's knees, so do we. It starts working in a few minutes of taking and lasts 3 to 4 hours of better movement in my joints. Great for headaches, works immediately, and sleep is enhanced. So notice how it's working for him on more than one area, and that's because of the endocannabinoid system's ability to help the body work in harmony. All right. I have reactive arthritis and fibromyalgia, a great example again of 2 autoimmune conditions. I finally found something that works 100%. No pharmaceuticals have ever come close to help with my symptoms. This is a savior, has improved my life dramatically. I've got quite a strenuous job that requires me to be fit. I can move freely without any pain and sleep the whole night. Brilliant benefits. So that is from Micah. Joe says, pain-free. Been using this product has meant I can now go about my daily activities pain-free. I've had arthritis in my knees for over 30 years, and nothing the doctors have given me really combats the pain. This product has changed my life with absolutely no side effects. It's a miracle and highly recommended. Like this is the thing about hemp. And I mentioned I'd been in the health and supplement industry for like 15 years, and I tell you, once working with hemp, it was like, how can I work with anything else, right? Lisa is like stoked with being pain-free after 5 days of using this. Heart popping, she says, how excited she is to move again after years of chronic rheumatoid arthritis. So life-changing. So the oil that they're talking about is the Cure Plus full spectrum hemp drops. Okay, so I just want to quickly go through with you how to use the drops. It's really key that you shake the bottle a lot because the sediment is heavy. It sits at the bottom otherwise, and then you just get really strong or potent doses at the bottom. So give it a really, really good shake. It needs to be nice dark green. Also, we want to be starting low. So with a low dose and slow, we call this method of dosing titration. Okay. So I also just want to let you know that while it does on the actual bottle itself talk about dosing twice a day, I do want to really make a case for starting at 3 times a day dosing. Okay. And the reason why is because most people's bodies prefer frequency over load. Okay. And so I really want to encourage you that even though it might feel difficult to begin with, to remember to take the oil 3 times a day, give it a good shot, right? And just think about think about the difference that it is going to make in your life to help you remember to do that. And then once you feel the benefits, you will remember. Then you can maintain on 2 doses once we get there. Now, listen, too much oil too quickly can also overwhelm the ECS. So this is another reason why I recommend frequency overload in terms of if you can, get it together for that short time. If you take too much oil, so when I talk about how much oil to take, if you decide, oh well, I'm gonna start on twice, 3 times, 4 times, hell, I'm just gonna squeeze a whole dropper in my mouth. What I'm gonna tell you is that that might work for you, for sure. But too much oil too quickly can also overwhelm the cannabinoid system. Okay, so we don't want to overwhelm it. It doesn't do anything except lead to perhaps no result. Okay, so how I recommend you start is you start with 3 drops. So not 3 squeezes of the dropper, just 3 little drops, 3 times a day under the tongue, which you can take with or without food. Okay, and if you're driving, which sometimes I am when I'm taking my drops, I'll put those drops on the back of my hand and I'll lick it off. Right. So if you're not in front of a mirror and you can't see the drops landing in your mouth, you might put more, you might squeeze more out than what you really need, which is also wastage. We do, although it's very uncommon for kids to have arthritis, I know that it happens. But I am just going to give the children's dosing as well. So 8 to 15-year-olds start with 2 drops 3 times a day, and then little ones. Right? Oh, here we go. So as long as you're eating solid food is fine. We start with 1 to 2 drops 3 times a day under the tongue or with food. So you are also more than welcome to reach out to us. People will use the drops for many more reasons than just arthritis, but I just wanted to put that in there. Okay, then what we'll do is we'll increase each dose by 1 drop every 2 days until relief is found. Right? So on improvement, then you'll drop the middle of the day dose, and then you'll just maintain on a morning and evening dose. So at this point, I would say we keep the drops in the bathroom next to the toothbrush, perhaps, and that'll help remind you to take the drops morning and night. Here's an example of how that might look. So 3 drops 3 times a day for the first 2 days. On day 3 and 4, it'll be 4 drops 3 times a day, then 5 drops 3 times a day. So we're increasing by 1 drop every couple of days until we notice improvement. And then once we notice improvement, then we can drop the middle of the day dose and then just maintain on a morning and evening dose. Okay. I also just want to let you know that when you go onto our website and you go to purchase, the Cure Plus oil is available only in our private members area. Okay, so you will need to complete a membership, and it does not cost anything for you to become a member, but you do need to become a member in order to purchase Cure Plus. And then once you have completed that membership, you can sign in and then you can go ahead and purchase. I also just want to let you know that in the beginning, I mentioned that some people were using a balm. Now, we do have Cure Plus drops and available in a topical form. Now, if you remember those receptors that were all inside the body, right, dispersed everywhere, clustering in the brain and in the gut, they are also all over your skin. Okay, they're all over the surface of the skin. And so the Relief Balm is a great balm to use for topical application, but you can direct it right to the area where you are experiencing pain. So for example, I had a guy who I met at a show, and opioids didn't work for him. And he was very, very skeptical. And I said to him, hey, you know what? This balm works for you. It'll work for you within 60 seconds of application, and then you'll know. And so he applied it, and what do you know? He got relief. So it works very quickly. So if you're in an acute situation, the balm is brilliant for that. Now, I recommend topical and internal use together. So supporting the body from both angles. If you have to choose, please choose Cure Plus internal drops. Okay, but together is what I recommend for best results. Okay, excellent for knees and back. Have osteoarthritis in both parts. All right, now I do also just want to do a quick plug for the Cure hemp seed oil and maca. Now, I did not go into this in the training, but I noticed that a lot of women who are going through menopause, um, some of them have started with pain in the joint already. They already had the onset of osteoarthritis, perhaps already had rheumatoid arthritis. But then when menopause started to happen, the joint pain got worse. Okay, so you actually have estrogen receptors in the joint. And so if there was arthritis there before, then during and post-menopause, it will be worse. And so this is the product that you combine with the Cure Plus drops to help with hormone balancing. It works twofold. It will help to balance your hormones in themselves, but the ingredient maca also helps to extend the time that the cannabinoids, which are in Cure Plus, stay in the body and stay active in the body before the body breaks them down. Okay, so the Cure hemp seed oil and maca work twofold. I highly recommend this if there is any hormonal imbalancing going on in your situation. Okay, so that was the other thing I actually wanted to mention. If there is flushing as well, if there is flushing with menopause. Okay, let's have a look at what they are going for. So there are 3 different sizes that you can get them in. 15 mils, which will give you 300 drops and last you approximately 30 days. 30 mils, which has 600 drops and lasts you 60 days. And then the 50 mils, which has 1,000 drops and will last you 3.5 months. Now it just gets better per price, better per mil. The price gets better per mil as you increase in size. Okay, so the 15 mils you're paying 460 ml, the 30 mil you're paying 330 ml, and the 50 mils you're paying 298 per mil. All right, so better value for money is the 50 mil. Now, we also do have a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you are on the fence about it, I'll be surprised. But if you are, then please take advantage of the 30-day money back guarantee. Now, this is great news for you guys because at the timing of this webinar, we're actually doing 25% off. Now, this is not, if you're watching the replay, this is not available in perpetuity. This is just the timing that I have done this webinar and this training. The promotion is 25% off. Okay, you will need to use a code, right? That code is FLASH25. And you get, instead of 149 for 50 mils, you get 111.75. Now, I just want to also let you know that come May 13th, we will be having a price increase. We don't want to, but the fact of the matter is that it's costing us more to buy our raw ingredients. Prices are going up everywhere, as I'm sure you're aware. So please take advantage of the 25% off that's going. That is also 25% off the capsules and also the balm. So it'll give you the capsules at 66.75 and the balm at 27. Okay. So just remember, Cure Plus is available only in the members area. So you must complete a membership and then you can sign in and you can purchase. And if you did not write down the discount code, it is FLASH25. And yes, it is case sensitive. So capital FLASH 25. All right. The other thing I want to let you know is that you get support. Okay, so one of our team will call you within 2 weeks to check your dosing. So once you start, you'll get a call and we check on how you're going to make sure that you have found a good maintenance dose for yourself. So on that note, I'm just going to open it up for questions and just let me know if there's anything that you feel I missed or that you want clarity on, and I will answer those questions for you. Oh, so Tim Beale. Hi, Taryn. Tambiel here. After I broke my ankle in rugby, I also had issues with Achilles and never came right. I was going to do surgery before COVID. It never happened. My question is, would it become arthritis? Because on cold mornings, I can tell by the pain in my ankle before I wake up. I'm loving the drops. They're doing wonders for me, and I haven't taken painkillers since. Oh, that's great, Tambiel. It's great that you haven't had to take painkillers since. That's awesome. The thing is that I can't. No, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say it's going to become arthritis, but I can tell you that osteoarthritis is like it is damage to the body, like it's wear and tear. And so over time, as we lose, as the body is sort of wearing down, I guess, then arthritis is what happens in those areas. That's the difference between osteo and rheumatoid. So there's a good chance that it could become that, but I can't tell you if it is or won't. But I would definitely recommend just continuing on the drops and even the capsules are more long term. Take a chronic approach. Um, Hope that answered that question. Diana, you mentioned animals. Would the dosing be like the children's dosing? Yes, yep, exactly, spot on. So for a dog, for example, a very small dog, um, then would be like a small child, maybe a little bit more. But the thing is that when you start the dosing low, it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of time as you're increasing, right? So you can always err on the side of not I don't want to say caution, err on the side of can't think of the right word. Just start low and work your way up. I know that quite a few of our customers have used them for their horses, and the horse is using like 20 drops, right? And so like, yeah. So just to put that in perspective, horses are many times heavier. So the titration method is really where it's at because animals are also a lot more sensitive than humans, I believe. All right. If there are no other questions, that's all good. I can end it here. Um, but guys, thank you so much for coming on. And I really hope that this has given you some clarity and given you a clear solution. The recording will be available. So of course you can share it with someone who you know is struggling. Um, and then they can also reach out to support@tricure.com if they have more specific questions. Oh, Jude, good point. What is our website? Good point. So it is tricure.com. Okay, so TRYKURE.com. I'm going to type it in the chat box for you. Cool. All right. Okay, guys. So Denise, I still get hot flushes at night. All right. So Denise, I will have a chat with you and see where you're at with your dosing. And I can just see that you've direct messaged that to me. So I will give you a call and have a chat with you about your dosing. All right, guys, have a great night. And I will look out for any messages. Please feel free to use the support if you think of questions later. All right, have a great night.